Welcome back. Are you ready for step 2? How do you pick the best realtor and lender for you? Let's go.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time homebuyers to qualified vetted realtors in their area. Whether you're looking for DIY information or step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is the #1 resource for first-time homebuyers.
What's up, my How to Buy a Homies? I'm your host, David Sidoni, and this is step 2 in the 10 steps from the #1 trusted first-time homebuyer system in the United States. And this step is the most crucial step of all 10. Choosing your guides, getting your realtor and your lender. And the most crucial element of this most crucial step is this. Everything that you have been told about when you're supposed to hire your team is wrong. And we're going to fix that so you can do this right. Let's frickin' go. You don't have to do all your planning on your own. So go ahead and embrace that right now. Because people ask me all the time, David, let's just say you could only give one tip, dude. What's the #1 piece of advice that you would give to any aspiring first-time homebuyer? My answer, every single time, hire your team before you think you're ready. You're not bugging the right realtor. And you're not bothering a lender. When you reach out and you ask for guidance, if you're a year away from buying, now the industry makes you think that you need to come into them fully prepared. Otherwise, you're bothering them. They're going to make you think you got to do this by yourself, and you just go to them to help you close the deal. But you, as the consumer, you can, and you know what, frankly, you should demand more than that from the team that's going to guide you through the biggest financial transaction of your life. Because the right team doesn't want to wait for you at the finish line. The right team meets you at the starting line, and then they help you figure out exactly where you are. They show you the options that you didn't even know existed, and then they build the smartest path forward with you. And that's not extra. That's the freaking job. In today's episode, here's what I'm going to cover. Why is getting your guide step 2? I mean, don't you need to learn all your stuff before you bother a professional? I'm also going to talk about the fees. Who pays for these professional services? And then I'll go over the warning signs for you, the red flags of who not to hire. And then we're going to wrap up the episode with who you should hire, people to protect you, and how do you find those people. Now, before I get into all that, this episode's going to come with a trigger warning. First-time homebuyers have been universally disrespected, ignored, and frankly, lied to. And there are solutions. This step, finding your guides early, that's going to change everything for you and open the door to extraordinary possibilities. Interview and hire a quality real estate support team in your area 1 year before you're ready to buy a home. That's step 2. You could stop the podcast right now. That's the whole message. Interview and hire a quality real estate support team in your area a whole year before you're ready to buy. Sounds crazy, but look, you're not here to do this in a simple, average way. You're here to do this the best way. Now, I'll start explaining the why behind this right now. See, you've been trained to think that you need to become an expert in buying your first home before you reach out and ask for help. And no, that is full on backwards. It's not your fault, though. The real estate industry wants you to do this backwards. They want you to show up pre-confused, pre-approved, and pre-sold so they can quickly just go, oh, great, here's your option, go, boom. They want to turn you into profits as quickly as possible. But there is a far better alternative so you can go through the process protected, educated, and powerful. Step 2, yeah, it's going to be different than 99% of what you're going to find in your research because 99% of the real estate industry doesn't give a crap about first-time home buyers. So in this step, you're going to learn your top 1% plan that you can use to beat this rigged game that, by the way, was set up by that other 1%, but that's another story. This is how you get your power back. Go ahead and accept this right now. You have the power to do this better than everybody else. Hire experienced first-time homebuyer specialists who are strategic advisors and educators, people who are dedicated to nurturing you through this entire process, months, years before you're ready to buy a home. This one thing is going to do more for you than all of the rest of my 500 episodes. And as you can see by the runtime on this episode, this is going to be one of the longer episodes in your 10 steps. So settle in, extend your dog walk, add some reps to your workout, do some more dishes, because by the way, if you were hoping to get all 10 steps in little 5-minute chunks, that's not my jam. I mean, can you be taught how to buy a home that way? Sure, you can, but should you? Nope. Buying a home is a pretty big deal, and you should be cool with logging a few extra hours to make sure that you're doing this the right way. All right, let's get into the beginnings of this step. Stop thinking of your realtor and your lender as the people you call when you're ready to buy a house. You can get so much more when you're not just trying to hire someone that I call a door opener or an order taker. Don't settle for someone just waiting for you to show up all ready to go. Because that's someone who just wants a transaction, not a relationship. So start thinking of your realtor and your lender as guides, coaches, advocates, and protectors. The first-time homebuyers who achieve the most success, this is what their process looks like. They interview, find, and hire a nurturing realtor and lender. People who are going to help them work their plan, looking at their credit, their debt, their savings, their income, their loan options. And they're also going to make sure they look at their overall goals with this entire purchase, because this purchase is going to change so many factors of your life. They're going to want to look at all of your goals, your fears, your timelines, your dreams. And then after they've taken all that information in, they're going to go, cool, here's where you are right now. Here's some of the options we can get to, and here's how we get you there. Because the average first-time homebuyer, through no fault of their own, has been given the actual wrong perception of the job description for realtors and lenders. The job of a lender, your mortgage professional, is not to get you pre-approved with the lowest rate. Their job is to be a strategic advisor, an advocate, and an educator, someone to show you your best options for creating wealth. And the job of a realtor, it's not to find you a home, show it to you, and then write up an offer and get you an accepted contract. Their job is to guide you in the planning, months or even years before you start looking at homes, because that sets you up in the most advantageous positions later when you're ready to start writing offers. And then in the negotiations, they also can use their superior first-time homebuyer expertise to protect you from danger, get to the best deal possible for you, and find something that actually aligns with what they've already talked with you about, your big financial and personal goals. And it's not your fault that these two truth bomb definitions aren't common knowledge. But now you know. You don't have to do this research on your own. Now you're wondering, dude, why isn't this the standard? Why aren't big real estate companies advertising? Hey, everyone else sucks at the whole educating first-time home buyers, so come to us. We actually care about you as customers. Sounds like it'd be a good business plan, but you know why they don't do that? Big real estate is only offering that end of planning phase service because no one in real estate gets paid until the deal closes. And they decided that the easiest way to make money is to lower the bar of entry for the realtors and lenders to get their license. And then they have millions of underqualified and undertrained people out there that play the numbers game with you and your future. Sure, they're licensed, but do you know right now there are 3 million licensed real estate agents? And there's only a little over 1 million homes for sale. So with such a low percentage of realtors actually trained or capable of helping you build your plan, most people out there feel like they've got to go out and figure this all out on their own and then call someone, grab themselves a door opener and an order taker just when they're at the finish line of the deal. When in reality, the actual job of the realtor and lender is assisting. They should really be like your personal Yoda or your Dumbledore or some other more current pop culture reference of a wise and caring guide who shows you how to do this and protects you from all the bad things. What sucks is how hard the Yodas and Dumbledores are to find in this oversaturated profits first, customer service last real estate system. 87% of realtors quit in 5 years, and that's a statistic that comes straight from the National Association of Realtors. 7 out of 10 realtors, they didn't sell one home in 2025. In fact, in 2025, the median income for all realtors was $58,000 before taxes and expenses. So that means the median income total net $40,000 for the person that you're calling up to say, hi, you're a professional, help me out. I agree with you. If you have heard that realtors suck, that's correct. Statistically, it's correct. Most of them do. I started How to Buy a Home because after a dozen years on the inside of the real estate industry, I saw exactly why so many of them suck. In California, the requirement to get a license to be a cosmetologist or a barber, it takes years of working as an apprentice. You have to log 2,000 hours. You want to know what it takes to get a realtor license in California? 135 hours, which mostly is open book tests. And I think I did it in like 10 hours. And anybody with a high school education, they can go through that and then take one final exam and boom, you're a licensed realtor with no apprenticeship, no internship, no residency, or no actual in the field training. Here's what I discovered, because this is the math behind the real estate corporate greed. Big real estate allows millions of untrained and underqualified newbie agents to get a license because those new agents, the ones who are only going to last for a few years, they pay more money into the big companies. They pay 50% of the fees they collect, the commissions, right back to the real estate companies they work for. Meanwhile, in the same office, the well-trained and experienced agents, they pay 20%, 15%, sometimes as little as 10% to the company. So the better you are at your job, the more homes that you sell, the less the big company gets paid. So to make more profits, big real estate churns a revolving turnstile of millions of newbie agents that are trying out this profession. The reality is, big real estate uses first-time home buyers to train this turnstile of people. Yeah, you are on-the-job training for the big real estate companies to train their new agents. Of course, you're trying to buy the biggest financial transaction of your entire life. And that's kind of going to suck for you when they're trying to figure out how to do the job in that one deal with you, and you get horrid service. You can spend years researching how to buy a home the best way, but there's still an 87% chance that you're going to reach out and hire somebody that's hoping to learn how to do this job with you in the largest purchase that you're ever going to make. That is so scary. So protect yourself. That's why this 1 hour is the most important hour in my entire podcast library. It's imperative that you research and dig deep to find a compassionate, experienced, well-trained, competent representation. And yeah, sorry, homies, that probably includes passing on your sister or your cousin who just got their real estate license. Blood is blood, but man, they could screw up the biggest decision of your life. It's harsh, I know. So sorry, not sorry. But you don't need to get ready to buy before you reach out and hire a local professional team. You hire them first. You only need to be ready to start the best planning, and then you get the professional guidance that you deserve so you can buy a home in the absolute best way possible for you. In step 1, we decided and we changed your mindset. And as you can tell, step 2, that's going to be a mindset change for a lot of you as well. There are pros out there who want you to call them. Change your mindset and understand that you don't have to do this alone. Millions of you people out there are discovering the truth about this knowingly corrupt real estate industry. And the National Association of Realtors is probably going to hunt me down soon. So if I mysteriously die in an accident, avenge me. Actually, you know what? First, use all the information here to buy a home, and then you can avenge me. All right, we're going to wrap up the why section here. Step 2 is going to catapult your personal buyer blueprint. It's so simple to do it that I actually use a child's game to explain it. If you want to get an understanding of how to pick the right team, will help you avoid the pitfalls and also help you uncover tips and tactics and options that make a superior buying experience, check out episode number 480. I actually broke it down in kindergarten terms using the kids' board game Chutes and Ladders. What I do is I explain that with the help of your guides, you got to determine exactly where you are on the game board. And then you have to make sure you follow the path that avoids the chutes and hits all the ladders. And if you're interviewing people and you reach out to someone and they make you feel like you're a burden because you're reaching out early, they just told you everything you need to know. That's not your advocate. The best realtors and lenders love to hear from you early because they can offer the education, the coaching, help you avoid stress and pitfalls, because they know the earlier they get involved, the more options that they can give to you. And in this game, options are everything. And I will give you a huge insider secret. If you talk to any realtor or lender who's been doing this for more than 10 years, ask them about the mad scramble, because we've all experienced it. Unfortunately, buyers think that they need to do this all on their own. So they do everything on their own. Then they start going to open houses. Then they start scrolling Zillow. And then suddenly the perfect home appears. They go see it. They come back and they call us and they go, we found the perfect house. We want to put an offer in right now. Bro, the scramble that happens right there. And I'm telling you, what we end up doing, we scramble like crazy to get them a deal, but most of the time, it's like 5 or 10% of what they could have done, protecting themselves as well as getting the best financial deal for them. Because if we'd had even just a few months to plan with them, we could have had 80, 90% more things to do. All right, next point. Who pays for these incredible people to work for you for this big, long amount of time? And I know some of you out there are thinking, bro, buying a home's expensive. I got to save money to get a down payment. So how the hell can I afford to hire the best realtor and lender out there, especially and have them work for me for a year? Well, this is the one thing that big real estate got right. As a first-time home buyer, your buyer representation fees, the commissions, they're paid for almost completely and a lot of times totally in full by the seller, not by you. You don't pay them anything. It's the seller. A few years ago, we had a big lawsuit that clarified this. And as of today, the statistics are in, and the seller, they are still paying for most or in lots of cases, all of the buyer agent fees. So since you have total control over who you hire with no financial limitations, because the seller's going to pay for it, why wouldn't you reach out, research, interview, and hire the best person? It's not like hiring a lawyer where if you don't have any money, you have to pay someone who only gets $100 an hour. While meanwhile, the celebrities, their guys make $5,000 an hour and they're much better at their job. It doesn't work that way for you. This is where the playing field is leveled for everybody. You just need to know how to work the system and hire the best people. So we'll start with who not to hire. Like I've mentioned, big real estate and mortgage, they've got a system in place. 90% of the professionals in the industry, they're untrained door openers and order takers, praying that your purchase is going to be the one that helps keep them above the poverty line this year. And of the other 10% left, 9.99%, they are almost completely focused on home sellers. Doesn't leave a lot for you guys as first-time home buyers. So because that's a big pool we got to look out for, here's what to avoid. All the door opener realtors want from you, simple. They just want you to call them. They don't want to do any work. They want you to ask them to show you a home that you found on Zillow and then write up an offer. There's no planning, no listening to you to discover all your best options, and no checking to see if that one house that you picked out is actually the right house for your financial and personal goals. I can't tell you how many realtors out there just make an appointment, open a lockbox, and then walk around the house with you, hoping that you don't ask too many questions. Door openers, they don't know jack cheese about the vital planning, strategy, and all the specific first-time homebuyer techniques that can change your entire game to help you achieve your vision and create your best path to get there. I already explained to you the statistics and numbers on licensed, and I put air quotes around that using that term very loosely, licensed realtors. So we don't need to go into too much detail on what not to hire. We can better prepare you in the section later on when I'm going to tell you who you want to hire for your realtor. But when we talk about the mortgage pros, also known as your lenders, that's a different story. There's a lot to cover here on what not to hire when you're getting a lender. So here we go. These lenders, I call them order takers. That's a lender that you find online when you're wondering, what can you be approved for? Or if you're shopping for the best interest rate. And you know what happens? They take just a little bit of information from you. They punch in a few of your numbers and they never ask you about you or your goals. And then they just spit out a pre-approval number. That's the price that you qualify for to buy a home with the monthly payment. And then, of course, they promise you that they can get you a loan at a really low interest rate. That is an order taker. There are two enormous problems, reasons why you don't get the best for yourself when you follow this procedure and you go to find a order taker. Number one, the low interest rate trap. And number two, the getting your pre-approval first trap. I'm going to go over both these traps and then we'll get to the solutions on them. Number one, the low interest rate trap. When you hear this next piece of advice, it's going to sound like I have lost my mind because it's the opposite of absolutely everything that you're going to find when you research this. It's going to sound like I'm bananas, but just remember, I'm not selling loans. This is coaching coming from the only dude out there with 7 years worth of free first-time homebuyer education, just so that you can do this better than what you're being force-fed online. Okay, so here it comes. Ready? The lowest interest rate does not automatically mean the cheapest and best loan for you. It's one variable in a much bigger equation. And sometimes when you look at the full math, the fees, the loan structure, the cash needed, the payments, the long-term costs, and of course, your personal goals, the loan with the lowest interest rate is not the loan that saves you the most money. I would drop the mic, but it's on a stand and I can't do that. Buyers put way too much emphasis on just shopping the interest rate, especially now that we've got people doing it crazy online. The subreddits are ridiculous with everybody posting their interest rate. Like, whoa, I got a great house. Cool. Is that a good house for you? What about the rest of the terms? What about the APR? Oh, you don't know what APR is? Yeah, that's my point. I know I sound super snarky there, but really it sucks because it's not everybody's fault for behaving this way. I totally get it. Buying a home is overwhelming. So right now, especially in 26 and 27, buyers are dying for something tangible that they can easily calculate to feel like they have some control. But as a first-time homebuyer coach, let me show you the full picture because a home loan has dozens of variables that's going to affect what you're going to pay overall for the home, monthly for the home, initially for the home, the whole thing. And in fact, choosing a lender based on the lowest interest rate, I've seen that actually cost people tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know plenty of buyers who have chosen a slightly higher interest rate loan because the mortgage advisor, the advocate, the person they were working with, not an order taker trying to entice them with a deal that looks good on surface because of their low rate, that advocate showed them the full picture and a whole bunch of other ways that saved them a lot more money. So what's the incredible secret weapon that true wealth building mortgage advocates use? Yeah, it's just math, the full math. Now, my job in this episode isn't to break down all of that full math and the dozens of loan options available to you that make mathematical formulas that will blow your mind, things that are going to use your personal, most affordable ways to buy a home, looking well beyond the interest rate. The goal of this episode is just to help you figure out how you find these right people who can give you all the math so you can confidently make a decision on the entire loan process, not just the interest rate. And I know so far, a lot of the steps we've been talking about have been focused on mindset, but I got to tell you, fear not if you're a crazy spreadsheet person who loves to calculate everything. Every theory I talk about on this podcast, it's based on math. Buying a home is all math. Why do you think I call it a rent replacement strategy? Home ownership is a mathematical equation, and I break it down to really granular degrees here on the podcast. There's tons of math in the library when it comes to choosing a lender on interest rates. Hear this right now. Really, really hear this. From a salty old pro who has seen literally thousands of buyers lose money by selecting their lender on whoever can give them the low interest rate. Find an advocate who can show you all the math, a strategic advisor and a wealth builder, someone who is going to break that all down for you, way more than just the one little thing that you actually feel like you can control and calculate. And here's a side note for who not to hire. Online lenders, they are the worst offenders of this. They are mega order takers. Like the epitome of order takers. They lure you in with a low rate that's packed with fees and bad math, and they shove you through AI a lot of times now to get you going on your loan. And overall, you're getting the lowest level of customer experience, and then you get ripped off with what turns out to be a more expensive loan. They do the utter minimum. Online lenders are the clickiest of clickbait. Friends do not let friends use online lenders. But they got a lot of money behind them. And they're the main culprits of trap number 2 that I mentioned to you earlier, the get pre-approved first trap. If I could change anything about what I see out there online about the first-time home buying process, it would be this trap. Get pre-approved first. Getting a pre-approval and getting pre-qualified, that is a step in buying your home, but it's not the first step. But I get it. You're going to look online and 99% of everything you're going to see is saying that getting a loan pre-qualification and a pre-approval is the very, very first step. That, my homies, is big real estate at its laziest and sketchiest. Lazy realtors tell you to go out and get pre-approved first because they want to find out if you can buy a home this weekend. And if the numbers don't line up, they don't want to waste their time with you. And sketchy lenders and mortgage companies, they say get pre-approved first so they can manipulate you for their profits. I did a deep dive on how they do this in episode 474, and it's scary when you see how the big mortgage companies have hijacked the internet so they can capture you. That's their word, not mine. Capture. They have spent billions and billions to propagate this lie so that they can capture you, put you on their assembly line loan factories to turn and burn as many loans as they can with zero regard for your best interest. They don't give a damn about educating you. They don't care about trying to help you plan for the best overall loan strategy. They want you in, out, and paying them. And it breaks my heart to see so many hopeful first-time home buyers get captured because they go see an open house and they're like, oh my God, we got to do this. And that's the first thing they do without doing any research. Or they see a Super Bowl ad. These people end up getting the minimum, most rudimentary level of service, zero guidance, zero planning help. Pre-approval order takers punch in the info, spit out a number, and then most buyers see a red light or a green light. Either I can go home shopping or I can't. And a lot of them get a red light. And of course, they're not getting any education guidance or action steps of what to do next to turn that red light green. Most of the time, the lenders and mortgage people will just say, only approved for 300. You want to buy a home for 450? All right, save money and get a better job and call me in 6 months. So this, get your pre-approval first before you bother anyone or do anything else. And that's the first step and everything. That narrative, I know it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere, but it is a lie. It was bought and paid for by them. You've been duped. It's the least effective way to start anybody's personal first-time home buying journey. You shouldn't be asking for a red light or a green light. You should be asking for a starting line with clear instructions on how to run this race to achieve the ultimate best results for you. So stay away from those order takers, especially the big ones, Rocket Mortgage, Zillow Loans. Stay away from them. They're being sued 3 times in 2026 for steering, that's a term they use, and overcharging most of the time first-time home buyers. It's everybody, but it's a lot of the buyers. 3 different lawsuits. And look out for Better Mortgage and Mr. Cooper. And like I said, I don't know how long I'll be able to do this podcast when all these big guys with all their money come after me. But I'm telling you, there's a better way to do it. These guys tease you with tasty looking rates, capture you, and then sell you something as quick as possible with no regard of what is your best overall plan. And there's more details in that episode 474 for those of you who really love to see conspiracy theories and how this really works. Protect yourself, gang. Most of all, you don't have to settle for this. I mean, anybody can give you a little bit of information if they take a little bit of information, but they should be asking you gobs and gobs and gobs of questions about you, not just getting a little information and going, all right, you're pre-approved. That's an order taker. All right, homies, that's who not to hire. Let's review. We discussed you want to hire early. If you're 6 months out, 12 months, 18 months out, good. That's exactly when a true advocate is going to give you the winning strategy. You're not bugging them if they're good. They're stoked to help you years ahead of time. We went over the fees, who pays for it, and understand that you can work with the best in the business, and that's great news for you. And then we went over who not to hire. So now let's discuss who do we want to hire? Who's the best realtor and lender specifically for you, and how do you find them? This is solution time for you. We'll start with the realtor. You want to look for an experienced, savvy, first-time homebuyer specialized professional, someone who's empathetic to your situation, especially in 2026 and 2027. Overall, you're looking for 2 main things. Someone who can act as your guide and your coach first, setting you up with a plan so you can succeed at the highest level. And then second, someone badass, experienced, active in the first-time homebuyer market. So when they negotiate on your behalf, they're armed with all the tips and tools and techniques that are helping buyers win in the current local market because it changes all the time. All right, and here comes another truth bomb. When you are interviewing realtors, remember this. Showing and finding you homes, that is the least important thing a realtor does. The least. Your biggest benefits with who you hire, they actually come in their ability to be a strategic advisor who sets you up for success and then has the skills to protect you and negotiate the best deal for you. But everybody thinks that their main job is finding you the homes. Another big thing that you're looking for when you're hiring someone. The first and most important thing is a realtor who listens to you. In order to build the best path for you, they have to know everything about you. And that's your financial and your personal goals. They can then use their expertise because they know many, many different paths that they've used in the past with different buyers. And they can figure out which one is going to work best for you. And then each one has little individual tweaks. You're going to be building a custom tailor-made roadmap. That roadmap is completely designed based on as much as they know about you. It's all of your goals taken into account to build the map. They're not looking for the path that just is to the quickest sale. They're advisors crafting the best overall plan for you. And this maximizes your options. Around here, we call that the O word. And no, get your mind out of the gutter. It's options. Homies, this is the key factor to buying your first home. The O word, options. Having home buying and loan options, it's really like a very, very significant game changer. And only the experienced guides can help you discover all the options so you can pick the one that works best for you. Options shape your buying potential. And more importantly, a lot of times, they can help you avoid getting screwed or making a major mistake. Remember, I mentioned earlier the episode 480, the chutes and ladder, when I broke it down like a kid? The right guide helps you discover all the options so you can climb the ladders, but they're also protecting you to avoid those nasty chutes that slide you down the board. And a lot of times when you get to the bottom of the board, oops, you just lost your entire deposit. Here's some simple ways you can know that you're talking to an advocate, a real realtor that's going to be specialized for you and not a door opener. 3 simple questions to ask when you're interviewing people. Number 1, what specific planning and strategy are we going to start today so that we can build our leverage and maximize our home buying options before we even ever go out and look at homes? Question number 2, what do you wish more first-time home buyers understood earlier? And then question number 3, what are you doing right now that's working with first-time home buyers in this current market? Like, give me an example of something that you've seen that's working in the last 30 or 60 days. And that last one's big, homies, because a true unicorn real estate agent, they should be able to talk to you about current negotiation strategies, counteroffers, or bidding wars, escalation clauses, appraisals, appraisal gaps, seller credits, mortgage interest rate buy downs, inspection negotiations, red flags, contingencies, conditions, due diligence, all the timelines and down payment assistance, and so much more. And I'll tell you what, if right now you're about to pause the podcast because you need to Google and look all that stuff up, you don't have to do that. Ask them. That's the test. The person you want to hire has information on all of that. See, most buyers think that the way they get a home is to offer the best price. That's how you get your dream home. But a lot of the times, it's just as much everything I just mentioned. Those are called the terms in the contract. And we've seen a whole lot of buyers actually get their dream home with a lower price than other buyers who are bidding on the home because their representation was so badass. They knew how to craft all the terms in the contract, and the lower price was a better deal for everybody involved. That's why I call the people who can do everything for you unicorns, because they're rare. But unlike, your fantasy Dungeon and Dragons world, unicorns, in my head, they really exist. I found them. I met them. I know them out there. They're incredible. And they can explain this complicated stuff in simple language. And I'm telling you, who you're looking for, you can hire the best. So hire the best. You're looking for someone to walk you through the contract, show you where the leverage lives in the contract, and explain to you in simple language how you can get the most advantage possible while also protecting all your money. And here's a bonus tip. you can ask them this question too. If we hired you and you represented us, where in the contract would you give me a leg up? Show me and let me see it. And then tell me what you do. Remember, you're looking to hire someone that gives you the most options. That'll help you avoid expensive mistakes, and it'll also help you negotiate from a position of power. If you're interviewing someone and you ask them any of these questions and they stare at you blankly, move on. Time to keep interviewing. So that's how you find the best realtor for you. You're looking for experienced pros who are going to listen to you and then share with you all the systems to help you build your plan. They're your guides, not your service providers. You're looking for the elite, the unicorns. Don't think realtor, think advocate, coach, negotiator, protector. A lot of times in sports and business, they throw the term unicorn around a lot. All they're saying is that it's this elite kind of once in a lifetime thing, unique individuals with uncommon gifts and talents. And it pains me to say it, but that is extremely rare in real estate. Like, instead of having a few unicorns and a whole bunch of beautiful horses, real estate and realtors, it's like a few unicorns across the country, a couple dozen horses, and then a whole bunch of donkeys. So use those tips to find your unicorn. All right, next, let's talk about what to look for in your lender, your mortgage professional. Especially when it comes to mortgage, the coaching advice that I'm going to share with you, it's going to go against everything you read or hear. In most cases, it's going to be the exact opposite of everything that you find. So here comes the madman again. Get ready. Get your unicorn realtor first before your lender. Yes, the best way for first-time homebuyers to buy a home is to ignore the corporate structure that's selling you. Get your realtor first, and then through the realtor, get your mortgage professional. Now, here's the incredible way that this benefits you. When you interview and find a true unicorn realtor first, they're going to recommend the best local unicorn mortgage brokers because they're out there. They find the best people. And those best local lenders, they're all going to have competitive interest rates. And you can interview whoever they recommend to you and then pick the best one for you. Now you're choosing a lender based on service, not the rate. And you get this enormous bonus. Now the realtor and a lender, they already have a relationship. They know each other. You get a full real estate support team working together with you cohesively on your best strategies. And they only have your best interests in mind. It's an all-star squad working as a unit. So that's the step in that order. Realtor first, and then get a recommendation to a mortgage lender. And I know that this advice goes against everything everybody else says. Most of the so-called first-time homebuyer education out there, they're sales pitches. I know what you've been told, or should I say sold. And a quick side note before I explain how immensely doing it realtor first, lender second benefits you. One thing about me, my mission here, educate and empower you. I want to show renters they have options. And the best way to discover all your possibilities is doing things in an above average way, assembling a unified team dedicated to building your strategy first, as much as they're dedicated to closing the deal. That's the best way to beat this rigged system. How to buy a home, it's this crazy little labor of love, and it serves an underserved community. Been doing this a long time, and I know you can go ahead and compare this to any other educational platforms out there for first-time home buyers, because I say this humbly, I don't know anybody offering this much free, transparent, practical education with that one goal in mind, just helping renters understand their options and make smarter decisions. I saw a way to challenge the broken parts of the industry and to lift up people who needed some help because they weren't getting the right answers. I just basically saw a way to help people, especially find a better life in a changing economy. That's why I do this. And so a lot of what I do, it is adjusting for the new economy. And a lot of what I teach sounds different from the sales and marketing messages constantly thrown at you first-time home buyer. So I'm going to say it again. No matter what you read or hear or get sold about how you're supposed to build your real estate support team, shopping for the lender first is backwards, bought and paid for by billions of dollars. And you're not missing out on anything because a unicorn realtor, they're going to have proven, vetted mortgage professionals who offer the same loan programs, the same products offered by the big banks and the online lenders, but you also get so much more. You're going to get that advocate with dedicated personal attention to you at the highest level of service, strategy, planning, and a true commitment to not just you, but to your realtor as well. You've got a team working with one goal, and it's dedicated to you, not a sale. And there's another big benefit about this. When you hire your realtor first, and then your realtor reaches out to some of the best lenders in the area, in that arrangement, the lenders, they're working to earn the business, not just of you, but of the realtor, because you hired a badass realtor. And the lender's business is going to grow if they can hitch their wagon to the best realtor in the area. That's a huge advantage for you because they need to kick ass for you and the realtor. I mean, think how much better that is for you versus a big online lender. If a local mortgage professional is working with you because their business depends on results, reputation, and word of mouth and referrals through not just you, but the realtor versus someone at one of the big mortgage companies that you just clicked a website or you called something from an ad, that's call center mentality that they know they're constantly going to have corporate advertising that brings them new people. Do you really think that they're going to be that concerned with you at the end of the deal? As long as you don't sue them, they're fine. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to take down Zillow and Rocket Mortgage, but I'm going to keep saying this on the microphone as long as I can. They're straight up screwing everybody, putting everybody in a corporate machine. And right now, there aren't laws that you have to use them, though they're really trying. So I'm telling you, don't get sucked into the corporate machine. Do this the right way. And just note, there are no financial affiliations. There's no kickback from the realtor to lender or lender to the realtor. That is totally illegal. They can't do that. This is just the secret that people in the industry know, but everyone else out there, you start your search on your phone, and a lot of times that's where you stop. So this team assembly, realtor first and then a lender, that's going to elevate your buying experience from the mass production that most first-time homebuyers are being offered. And it's just not the best way you can do it. It's just not. Period. The end. Curtain. Oh, wait. Open that curtain up again. I forgot one thing I did want to mention here. There's another really cool benefit you get from doing it this way. When a unicorn realtor recommends you to local mortgage brokers, they've got another really neat inside information that's going to be very helpful to you. They're up to date with local down payment assistance programs and grants that are available to you. Here's the thing about first-time homebuyer programs and grants. They vary. I mean, they vary state by state, but they vary even more than that. They vary county by county. Sometimes there are even only local assistance programs that are available for each individual city. Now, the online loan factories, there's no way they can be dialed in on what's happening exactly in your area, and that could cost you big money. The average down payment assistance program in the United States for 2025 was $18,000 for the buyers. And then remember, when you are forming this super team, you get all their education, experience, planning, customer service at no cost to you during the planning period. When you hire a team like this, these realtors and lenders, they don't get paid until you close on the home. That means the best professionals out there are going to offer these high levels of customer service and strategic planning, knowing that they might be working with you for months or even years for free. Use that to your advantage. They know that, and they're willing to lay out a plan for you. That's pretty much them letting you know, hey, I'm in it to win it. I'm here for the long haul, and this is the service I offer. Okay, quick side note. There is one exception to the realtor first strategy. If you're out there and you want to explore multiple different geographic regions or multiple states, realtors can only work in, a specific geographic region. One of the things you can do is you can start planning ASAP by finding a unicorn lender who covers multiple areas and multiple states before you start connecting with realtors. Now, this is something that not a lot of the lenders who are in multiple states do. So if you want more details, episodes 339, 340, episode 454, they share the tips. And what you want to do is you want to find a unicorn lender Because remember, friends don't let friends use online lenders. You're going to find someone that doesn't do a pre-approval call with you. They do what we like to call a discovery call, help you find your starting line. So listen to those episodes. And if you like, I have a couple national unicorn lenders that are fully embracing and totally on board with the mission here at How to Buy a Home. I'm not affiliated with them. I told you that's illegal. I don't get anything. I just went through and talked to a bunch of people and found these guys. And the deal is, I'm fully transparent. I've spent a lot of time vetting people. I'm just letting you guys know, hey, I know a really good person who does this. I'm not trying to make money by having sponsorships or affiliations with anybody else. I'm giving the education away for free. The people who ask me to advertise on the show or be partnered with me or sponsor with me, most of the people who do that, they are part of the big real estate machine that I am actively trying to help you avoid at all costs. Any recommendation from me to any first-time homebuyer specialist in any capacity, it's someone I've personally vetted who is dedicated to sharing the planning strategies vital to beating this rigged game so that we can keep this revolution of new first-time homebuyers doing it right. Now, when it comes to loans, there's hours and hours of free mortgage and loan information on the podcast library. So check the show notes for the podcast library episode guide, and you're going to find everything you need to know. Some of the recent topics, stuff that you might be interested in, episode 495, mortgage calculators are lying to you. So first-time homebuyers, beware. Episode 488, 8 first-time homebuyer tips to beat high interest rates. Yeah, like I said, don't shop that way. Shop service first, but there are ways to get around the high rates too. Episode 483, how to get a loan for your first home, the top 10 mortgage questions every first-time homebuyer needs answered. Episode 454, lending options for 2026, how to find the best deal when shopping for a mortgage. And episode 413, that's 10 other loan questions. And there's a ton more. You go to the episode guide, you're going to see 20 full episodes on home loans and the entire mortgage process. And that's the way the podcast works. Everything you need to build your perfect path for home ownership, it starts with these 10 episodes, and then everything you need, the exact coaching, research, and education that's specifically for your journey to go from renter to home buyer, it's all here. Everyone's going to start at a different point, and then their journey is going to take them in all kinds of different directions. Your perfect playlist, it's just waiting for you to build it in the 500 episodes. So don't wait for the perfect episode to drop. There's no magic episode that's going to be coming out next month that's going to be your perfect next step. Your perfect next step is already recorded. It's in the podcast library. And in this new post-COVID home buying environment, you're going to need real education and real coaching because this is a different economy. I know everyone right now is saying that buying is impossible, but it's not. It's just more nuanced. And in 26 and 27, 6-month-old advice, that's already stale. And 3 to 5-year-old advice, it's freaking Jurassic. Now more than ever, that's why this step is the most important one. You need real pros that can show you real possibilities. And the scary part is a lot of the so-called professionals out there, they really don't have a clue what to do, especially right now. And look, if you want to ask me if I know a unicorn in your area, or if you just want to use all the lessons from here and go find your own unicorn team, that's great too. I really don't care how you do it. I don't. I just want everybody to do this the right way. So for you, when it comes to hiring your realtor and your lender, my best advice, hire advisors and advocates. They're rare. That's why I call them unicorns, but they do exist, and they're the ultimate game changer. And I know that for many of you, you've done quite well in your life being a super researcher. I know you go deep down the rabbit hole and you've done this a lot and you've had great results. I get it, because you know what? I do that too. But I do want to let you know, even if you've got world-renowned researching, spelunking deals deep into the internet, you don't have to do this one on your own. It's too big a decision with too many variables. There are quality professionals out there that are not replacing your research, they're enhancing your research. And I guarantee you, because of the ever-changing fluidity that is the housing market, they're going to be able to share strategies and options you are not going to be able to find on the internet because this market is ever evolving. Buying a home is a wildly individual process. No matter when you're buying and how you're buying, they haven't made enough pages on the internet for everyone's individual, custom, best personal buying path. There's no one size fits all. And in fact, it's whatever the opposite of one size fits all is, it's that. So you need someone who's been through this 100 times and knows what to do. You're not bugging or wasting the time of a true first-time homebuyer, specialized realtor, or lender who wants to help you build this truly unique and personal path. So get over that thought. I'm telling you, it's costing you massive amounts of money. People try to do this on their own. They lose tons of money. And a true professional, they understand this. For 7 years, I've been laying out all the math here. And so far, there hasn't been a time where waiting to buy a home financially benefited a buyer. Best time to buy a home was yesterday since 2019. And that's when I started the podcast. The reality is it goes all the way back to about 2011. I explained it all in other episodes. It's math, and it's all due to one thing and one thing only, low inventory. You're going to hear market updates now that you're listening to the podcast, and you will hear all the math and the data behind that. And if that changes, I'll let you know. But right now, best time to buy a home was yesterday for most of you, because you're going to be looking at this from the full math of a rent replacement strategy. Now, here on the podcast, I will update you at least once a month with the top economist predictions and forecasts on the housing market. If you want to hear the most current info, they're episodes 492, 489, and 487. That's where the most current market updates are. Even though the best time to buy a home is yesterday, it doesn't matter. There's never any pressure for you to do anything. I just report the math. And right now, waiting mathematically isn't going to improve anything for buyers. That deep math on that's episodes 457 and 460. Now, if you want to hear how choosing the right guides has literally changed the lives of other real people, there are over 125 interviews with real people, other people talking, and they're in the episode guide. And you can hear how their experience guides made all the difference for them. And for many of them, their only regret was not adding those experience guides earlier in their planning process. You're also going to hear from those actual real people specific tips and tactics for everything in the first-time homebuyer process. From the very basic to very advanced creative tactics, buyers sharing all that they learned to make the transition to home ownership an affordable option for them. Real people, just like you, talking about how their dream happened for them. The stories are incredible. We've got stories from all over the map, literally all over North America, $200,000 to $2 million buyers. Some people making $75,000 with no savings. Some people making $300,000 as a couple or $400,000, and they just want to figure out how to maximize their buying options. I told you about some great examples last time. There's a few more. We got everything. The solo buyers, mostly women, by the way. What's up, fellas? Couples, people who bought right out of high school, people with no savings, people with massive student loan debt, like doctors with $200,000 and $300,000, self-employed people, low credit, all of that. I could spend time listing everything, but go to the episode guide. Okay, well, most of you now should realize, if you're still here listening to this marathon episode, bro, if you're here, you're probably one of the people who is more ready than you thought before, you started this episode. But now you know. Rad, get on this. Go to howtobuyahome.com. You can ask me a question there, or if you're ready, ask for a unicorn. It's free. It's just a recommendation. Out of 3 million licensed real estate agents, only 300 agents have made the cut to be unicorns. They're the top 0.01%. I personally vetted everyone. And like I said, it's just a recommendation. They don't pay me to get that unicorn title. I don't get a monthly subscription from them to call them a unicorn. Oh, why would I say that? Because that's what happens everywhere else in the industry. These people are awesome. And you can hear about how unicorns have changed people's lives in the interviews. And if you want to get the full details on my personal unicorns, check out episode 437. But if you want to do this on your own, you want to figure it out, cool. Go to howtobuyahome.com and hit the Ask David button and ask me your specific questions to figure out if you're working with a unicorn or how to find unicorns in your area if I don't have anybody there. And yeah, I answer everything at Ask David on my website. It's me, not AI, not robots. I'm on a mission to ignite empowering this revolution. And I'll say it again, as your cringy dad, your coach, your unk, no matter how you buy a home, remember the number one mistake first-time homebuyers make is waiting too long to hire a quality team. That's the number one mistake by a mile. There are 8 more episodes in this 10-part series, but you do not have to learn everything from the 8 episodes on your own. You can simultaneously continue to do the research in these 10 steps while also hiring and employing professional, no obligation planning guides. I've shared all the math, told you where to find the real life stories, told you that people are still doing it and that the right team is going to help you build a roadmap and a timeline to show you how to create your proactive plan instead of waiting and wishing for things to change. You can find different solutions. That is 100% mathematically true. A lot of the episodes in the 400s from this year in 2026, you don't have to understand and know all the math for me to be able to explain to you. And here comes my corny again. I know you can do this. I believe in you. You just haven't been told the right things because freaking corporations suck. I've dedicated the entire third act of my life to give back to you and show you what you can do to make this happen so you can live a better life. And every day here, I see renters learn that what they thought was impossible is actually totally doable. And that all starts with the right guides who give you the proper planning and help you build your own rent replacement strategy. Homies, you can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyaHome.com to get started.